Hello everyone, tonight on Business Live, Institute of Energy Security downplays impacts of suspension of stabilization levy for another month as fuel prices go up.
Even the 1st November when prices were expected to fall because the levy was going to be suspended, prices rather increased by some 10 pesos because the things that were causing prices to rise up were not things that government was adequately handling or was even able to handle properly.
Also coming up, Guta warns of economic hardship as government implements reversal of benchmark value policy beginning tomorrow, Tuesday, January 4. Ahead, we hear from Chief Finance Officer of the Valley View University, who warns government's policy will contribute to hikes in inflation.
This is not the right time. The benchmark policy is the last straw of hope for businesses. Had it not been the benchmark policy, we wouldn't have done know what to do during 2020, 2021, and even now that we are in the fourth wave.
And showing love this New Year's Day holiday, Joy Business embarks on an outreach targeted at the needy at the Agogweshi area in Okra.
We are representing the community to manage the car, to help your people to distribute the item for them. And we are most grateful for what you have done for the Kaya people.
Welcome once again to Business Live. It's our first edition for the year 2022. My name is Darryl Kwao. Details in a moment. To begin with, the Institute of Energy Security has said the extension of the suspension of the stabilization levy on petroleum products for another month will have little impact on fuel prices. Joy Business is learning President Akufo-Addo approved the extension based on a request from the Finance and Energy Ministries. Researcher with the IES, Fritz Moses, says it would make little impact as prices are set to go up further.
We are of the view that the suspension in itself is not enough. Because we look at the factors causing or pushing prices upwards, and they are not things that suspending a 16 pesos or a 14 pesos levy would cause a reduction in. Remember when, even the 1st November when prices were expected to fall because the levy was going to be suspended, prices rather increased by some 10 pesos because the things that were causing prices to rise up were not things that government was adequately handling or was even able to handle properly. Looking at the CD stabilization, consistently from somewhere July last year, we've seen CD continue to depreciate on marginal terms. In the last window, it depreciated again by 0.5 from 6.18 CD to the US dollar. It's currently around 6.21 CD to the US dollar. And so these are things that are fundamental that, do away with all, with or without any government intervention, suspension or removal of taxes or levies on the price product, may still force prices to go up further because the OMCs and BDCs are in the market to trade and make profits. And anything that would force their costs to increase would push onto the consumer.
And what is the outlook for the coming months beyond the first pricing window and as we deal with the pandemic?
Well, what we believe is that with the current prices that we've been seeing on the international market, where prices are seemingly stable, we expect that for the second half of January, already in the first half of January, you see prices rising up at the various pumps. However, in the second half of January, we expect that the prices that we will see now would remain stable for some time. Unless, again, like the OMCs have been doing in the past few months, the past 3-4 months, there will be a reduction in their margins to pushing consumers a bit, but we expect prices to remain stable.
Well, meantime, some major oil marketing companies have started increasing prices of fuel at their various service stations beginning this week, which is the first pricing window for the month of January. Total and Star Oil are the first two market players to effect the increment. Here's more. This price adjustment has been influenced by the rising price of crude oil on the world market and the depreciation of the local currency within the period. On the average, the oil marketing firms are expected to increase the petroleum products by about 20 pesos from the last pricing window, which ended December 31. Total Petroleum is currently selling a liter of petrol and diesel at 6 cedis 80 pesos, and 6 cedis 85 pesos respectively. Star Oil is however selling both petrol and diesel at 6 cedis 45 pesos a litre due to the price war amongst competitors. Other players are expected to adjust their prices upwards in the course of the week, but in a way that will attract consumers. Indigenous market leader Guel is however expected to increase its fuel prices by the end of the week. Meanwhile, Joy Business is learning that some OMCs are likely to maintain their old prices till the end of this pricing window. Turning to other news now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association is warning of economic hardship this year as the reversal of the benchmark value policy comes into effect on Tuesday. The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority in a statement said the reversal will affect selected items from all the 3 categories on which it was applied. Here's JoyNews' Kweku Asante with more on the GRA statement.
According to this letter signed by Colonel Damois, who is actually the Commissioner in charge of Internal Revenue, this policy is being reversed because government has taken note of the concerns that have been raised by some of the stakeholders. We know that in particular, AGI, the Association of Ghana Industries, have been raising some concerns about what an impact this will have on their local industries. And so they've largely advocated and lobbied for its reversal. And so finally, it's been reversed. This letter is actually addressed to most of GRAs and their sectors all across the country to explain to them how they are going to be able to optimize the returns of the reversal of this policy. And so what we know is that government initiated this policy in 2019 to cushion importers. And so when you are importing these class of goods under this policy, it came with certain amounts of discount, up to in some instances more than 30%. And that was expected to cushion importers. And Guta in particular was one of those who were very much excited about the idea that this policy had been introduced. And so now that it is being reversed, they are up in arms and we'll get there very soon. But then so just like you mentioned, cars, sugar, rice, and a number of things that are made in major ways imported into Ghana are going to be reversed and they are not going to attract discounts anymore. And so Colonel Kwejo Damois is telling their sector commanders, DRA, and all the officers in the nationwide to ensure that they are able to fully optimize this situation and ensure that the returns are maximum for government.
Now, what does this mean in simple terms for the layman?
Mapito, so what this means in simple terms is that the importation of these class of goods will revert to their old and former prices. That means cost of importing these goods will go up. So if we're importing a car for, say, 50,000 Ghana cedis, and it was discounted 30%, this 30% is coming back again. And so you are going to pay the full cost of importing that vehicle. This will ordinarily mean that the importer is going to pass on this to the consumer and ensure that you pay exactly for what they have paid at the ports. And so for much of the things that Ghanaians use a lot, sugar, rice, that the country is not self-sufficient. And for which this policy has been reversed, it means that the prices are going to go up significantly, by at least 30%, because that is by how much they were discounted at the ports. And that is what Guta has been explaining, yes.
So we mentioned sugar, you mentioned pasta, spaghetti, noodle products, palm oil that will be affected by this change in policy. Can you give us more products and goods?
Right, so vehicles, machinery, equipment that are actually needed by even industries in Ghana to operate are going to go up. There are 32 classes of goods that are going to attract this 30% reversal discount. And AGI have been lobbying particularly to ensure that this is reversed. And so machinery, pasta, sugar, rice, these are some of the major things on the list of these 32 discounted items.
JoyNews' Kweku Asante there speaking earlier with Mapiso Sibidi on the GRA statement on the reversal of the benchmark value policy. While the Ghana Union of Traders Association is hoping to engage government over the implementation of the policy in the coming days, President of Guta, Dr. Joseph Obing, however, warns consumers who pay the price.
Food commodities, prices of food commodities are going to go up. So then it goes against government's own policy to combat the COVID pandemic. Don't forget that we are in the fourth wave. The COVID cases are going up every day. And is it the time? The world effect of the pandemic is still very high. World commodity prices have gone up the roof. Shipping freight charges have gone up astronomically high. When we come down locally, we have introduced new taxes into the system last year. The fees and charges at the port are still very high, and we are still going to reverse this last straw of hope of businesses. It's not going to be easy, and that's why we have called on government, because government promised us of a broader stakeholder engagement, and we have not done that. When Ministry of Finance came out with its press conference, they also acknowledged the fact that this is going to affect the consuming public and then the importers, and so they want to find a mitigating factor. We haven't sat down with them to do all this, and who is chasing who? Who is chasing government to introduce this, to penalize the people of Ghana? Let it not be said that they are listening to AGI and push the generality of Ghanaians into hardship. It's not fair, and so we will still will prefer that government sit down with us, as it has been promised us, that we have to do broader stakeholder engagement, and then find way that we can prefer alternative solutions to this. Otherwise, it's going to push us into great hardship, seriously, because the consuming public, their purchasing power is still not high, it's constant, and then prices of goods and services keep increasing. It means that it's going to affect turnover, and even the volume of trade is going to go down, which might not even help government itself in its quest to enhance on its revenue collection. So the time is not right. The time is just not right, and it will be seen as insensitive on the part of government. And we plead with government that we sit down as early as possible to iron out the issues and see what we can all do, that it will help government, and that it will also help the trading populace as well as the consuming public.
When you said we are going to suffer, I smiled because you put it bluntly, but that is not a matter to smile about, and nobody wants to hear we are going to suffer in this new year. You talk about hoping to engage government. Isn't it a little too late, seeing that it's going to take effect tomorrow?
No, that is what government promised us, that we are not going to reverse the benchmark policy until we have had broader stakeholder consultation, and it hasn't come. Probably their consultation is only with AGI, which is not fair. Now, we have Pharmaceutical Association. You remember they also came out with press conference. The car dealers, the trading public, the generality of importers and all that. This is not the right time. The benchmark policy is the last straw of hope for businesses. Had it not been the benchmark policy, we wouldn't have done and know what to do during 2020, 2021, and even now that we are in the fourth wave of the COVID, where the cases are going up by the day. And so the time to do this definitely is not right, and that we still have unfinished business with government, and that we have to sit down as soon as possible, so that do not put any unreasonable hardship on the people of Ghana and then the trading community.
Good to President Dr. Joseph for being there. Meanwhile, expect the reversal of the benchmark value policy to contribute to a hike in inflation, which currently stands at 12.2%. Here's Chief Finance Officer at the Valley View University, Dr. Williams Pepwa, warning about the impact of the implementation of the reversal of the benchmark value policy on selected items.
If you listen to government, when this issue came up, government made two main arguments. The first one was to focus on improvement in local industries. And then the second argument government made was to ensure that our foreign exchange earnings, we are able to bring it down, because one of the major drivers of our foreign currency or our city devaluing is the issue of importation. So government is, if you listen and if you read, you never saw anywhere where government was talking about revenue generation or increasing revenue with this particular decision. So government is focusing on this policy of making sure that the country becomes a production or manufacturing hub instead of a country that only receives imports. And in effect, economically, this is going to affect the standard of living or cost of living within the country. If we are going to see inflation going up, around November is around 12.2. So we should anticipate that in Q1 and Q2, our inflation rate is going to go up, which is really going to affect the economy and then the citizenry. And as Dr. Obeng mentioned, purchasing power also, if you notice, government in 2022, government is only going to increase salaries by 7%. So we will not have the purchasing power to be able to buy the things as we need if prices increase. The other effect is that if the local industry or manufacturing firms don't come up to meet the shortfall that will come as a result of this particular impact, there will be shortage of goods and services, goods especially within the country, specifically sugar and rice. The question is our industry ripe, or can we produce the quantities that will be able to match the imports, so that as government is trying to focus on local industries to move up, we'll be able to achieve this. If we are not able to achieve this in the first 6 months of the year, I am sure that we may have to go and revisit this policy, all right, because as we speak, this policy is going to bring a little bit of hardship, because the things that are mentioned or that are categorized are what we use daily. In economics, we say inelastic demand. We need them all the time. And if they are going to go up by 30 to 50%, and our salaries are going to be increased by only 7%, it's going to be a problem.
Kuta is warning about prices going up. You mentioned the fact that the consumer would have to pay the price at the end of the day if we want to support local production. I'm just wondering, any other ways to mitigate the impact on the traders and consumers?
I think that as Dr. Obeng has mentioned, that meeting must happen between the traders and government. And then we should find out which items or which items in the category or the basket can we implement now, which one can we defer.
Right.
Looking at what we produce within the country, and then the decision should be made based on that.
You're watching Business Live, and still to come, showing love this New Year's Day holiday, Joy Business embarks on an outreach targeted at the trading community at the Agbogboshi area in Accra.
We are representing the community to manage the car, to help your people to distribute the item for them. And we are most grateful for what you have done for the Kaya people.
We have a report ahead. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Business Live. It's New Year's Day holiday, and we at Joy Business decided to celebrate the day by donating some food items to the homeless and needy at the Agbogboshi market. Here's James Ishen's report.
Thousands of people, mainly women and children, thronged the forecourt of the Sikins office in Agbogboshi to partake in the street breakfast edition of the Joy Business Outreach Program. Items such as drinks, rice, bread, chicken, toffees, among others, were distributed to them. Head of Joy Business, Odelia Ntiamwa, explained the reason for this initiative.
This year, we decided as Joy Business to send some love and compassion to our less privileged brothers and sisters by offering them breakfast. We know that during this Christmas season, many people will eat some very good food, but these are people who will not get the opportunities all of us have gotten. So we got the business community, Valley View University, Teka, which gave us drinks, and then another company gave us chicken for us to be able to prepare some good breakfast for them. And that's exactly why we are here. Every year we plan to do different things for the less privileged community. This year we decided to do breakfast. That's 2022. At the end of the year, it may be a different plan, but it's definitely going to target the less privileged in society.
Joy Business's project lead Amele Josu described the program as successful.
It's been overwhelming so far, but we are trying to manage the crowd. I mean, that's the little we have, and we want to share the joy of the Christmas festivities and New Year with the people of Agbogbloshie. So, I mean, we don't have much, but that's what we are trying to share. It's been hectic, but we are trying our best to control the crowd and make sure that everybody gets a bite of what we brought here today. So, I mean, so far so good. It's been successful, and we thank God that we've been able to do this as a team.
One of the leaders of the community, Mohammed Swalisu, on behalf of his members, expressed their gratitude to Joy Business.
We are very grateful for their coming. And in fact, as you can see, the crowds, we are able to manage them nicely. We are able to manage the crowd nicely. I and my brother Mutaru. My name is Swalisu. So we are representing the community to manage the car, to help your people to distribute the item for them, and we are most grateful for what you have done for the Kaya people.
Nursing mothers were not left out of the program, as bags of rice were given to them to cater for those at home. The first edition of the Joy Business Outreach was partnered by Thaka Overseas, Charlie Boy Enterprise, Valley View University Bakery, and the Ghana Commodities Exchange.
Final one for tonight, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has challenged its members to up their game and take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area as it gathers steam in 2022. The Chamber said industries are already losing out due to the impact of COVID-19, but can make some gains when the AFTA platform is fully utilized. First Vice President of the Chamber of Commerce, Victoria Haja, disclosed this to Joy Business at an end-of-year open forum and networking by the Tema Regional Branch of the Chamber.
Despite the slow start, AFTA is considered one giant step, creating the world's largest unified market with a combined GDP of more than $3 billion and a population of over 1.3 billion people. According to Victoria Haja, 2021 has been very challenging as businesses struggle due to the pandemic.
You know, the challenges, it affected us in one form or the other. Their participation, though was good, could have been better. Then also with the African Continental Free Trade Area, which we are all very excited about, because it hadn't fully taken off, and for the fact that 35% of our revenue base had also, been netted off, we had 65% to do all the things we were supposed to be doing, that is to protect and to help our businesses.
Tema Regional Vice Chair of Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Cosmos Bonzi, sees capacity building and getting members on track extremely important in 2022.
So come 2022, we are going to continue with our advocacy and then our capacity building. Capacity building, we are looking at management. We are looking at bookkeeping. We are looking at customer service. We are looking at e-commerce or marketing or digital marketing, because things are changing and businesses should change and change the way we do our businesses. So that is the focus for 2022.
For Francisca Engman of Shoto Logistics, the Chamber has a lot to offer, but members have to play their role through networking.
So let's say there are a lot of consultants over here, some are into auditing, taxation and everything. And for my company, Shoto Logistics Limited, we can get a consultant when we need one. So if we want our books to be audited, we wouldn't need to go outside to get an auditor. We can actually get an auditor from here.
All right, and that's our program tonight. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com. My name is Darryl Kwao. Happy New Year once again.